The Steelers fall in Week 8 to the Jacksonville Jaguars by a final score of 20-10. Welcome into Steelers Talk. I am your host, Jack Sperry, and today I'm going to be breaking down this rough loss at home once again for the Pittsburgh Steelers, going to 4-3 on the season now, heading into the trade deadline. It's going to be interesting to see if Omar Khan, the GM, ends up making some moves here, because the injury report, it's pretty long. Right now, 4 players end up getting hurt in this game. Now, Diontae Johnson and Dan Moore Jr. both end up coming back in this football game. But Kenny Pickett left the game with a rib injury after taking a hard hit. And then Minkah Fitzpatrick left with a hamstring injury early in this football game. If the Steelers are missing both of those players, along with Pat Freiermuth, along with Cam Hayward, and all the other guys that they have injured on this team, it's going to be rough to try to get victories here if you're the black and gold, even in a pretty easy part of their schedule with both the Tennessee Titans and the Green Bay Packers next up on the docket. Now, if you hate injuries here, you can do me a favor here by getting in the comment section. Do me a big favor here. If you want Kenny Pickett, Minkah Fitzpatrick, and Diontae Johnson, all these guys to be back on the field next week, type F in the chat if you hate injuries. Do it right now in the chat. All right, so the first takeaway after this loss to the Jacksonville Jaguars, the injury bug definitely struck again. We just talked about the injury updates there. Haven't heard any long-term news when it comes to Kenny Pickett. All we know is he suffered a rib injury. He came out, took some warm-up passes at the start of the second half, and then all of a sudden he was deemed out for the rest of the game, and Mitchell Trubisky was the quarterback the rest of the way. You really hope that Minkah Fitzpatrick, his hamstring injury, is only going to keep him out a couple of weeks. But at this point, the hamstring injuries usually last about 3, 4, sometimes even 5 weeks. So that's definitely not good, because he is the heart and soul of your secondary right now, and you really don't want to see him lost. Then the second takeaway. Defense deserves better, man. This defense created 3 turnovers in this football game, and you can only score 10 points? What is this from the Steelers offense? This is straight up shameful. This defense, led by TJ Watt, who made multiple big plays today, with guys like Keanu Benson balling out, Alex Highsmith playing well. Joey Porter Jr. had another solid game today, in my opinion. This defense came to play today, and the offense just couldn't pick them up today. They just couldn't. They only had 1 touchdown drive on offense today. And, Jacksonville was able to move the football for sure, but the defense made big plays. They turned the ball over when the Jacksonville Jaguars were in Steelers territory 3 times today. You just got to take advantage of that opportunity when it comes, and the Steelers just straight up did not do that. And a big reason for that, especially in the second half, was Mitchell Trubisky couldn't get the job done. And the big question moving forward is he going to be able to hold down the fort here while Kenny Pickett is out? Now, it's obviously a big question. Will Kenny Pickett be out for future weeks? Will he play next Thursday night versus Tennessee? We don't know the answers to those questions yet. When we do have answers, we're going to be putting a video on the channel, so make sure you click that subscribe button. But, with Trubisky, he had a really bad pick in the middle of the field today. He threw 3 interceptions as a total today. He looked like a backup quarterback. I know people say Trubisky is one of the best backup quarterbacks in the league, and I've even been somebody that said that. Today, he didn't look the part. Plain and simply, Trubisky did not look good whatsoever. And if he's the guy in charge of this Steelers offense moving forward, I'm extremely worried. You mix Mitchell Trubisky's inability to target the middle of the field with Matt Canada's ineptitude as an offensive play caller, it's a recipe for success, even with guys like Diontae Johnson and George Pickens and Jaylen Warren, who had another nice game today. It's going to be tough if Trubisky is your quarterback, in my opinion. It's already been rough enough with Kenny Pickett. If it's Trubisky, it might get even rougher from this point forward. And then my final takeaway today is it's time to make some moves, people. You're sitting at 4-3. You're still in the thick of things here. I think you're pretty lucky, if I'm being quite honest with you, to be 4-3 with the way the offense is playing. You've really gutted out some tough wins. Minkah Fitzpatrick's probably going to be out for an extended period of time. I'd expect potentially a safety to be traded for. And then also with Diontae Johnson dealing with an injury today as well, I'd expect maybe a wide receiver to be in the mix here, whether it's like a Van Jefferson or a Marquise Hollywood Brown or a DeAndre Hopkins. I would expect one of those trades to happen. And then also Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs. I've looked at what's happening right now with Najee Harris, another disappointing performance for Najee. Big time. I mean, seriously, I'm done with it right now. Jaylen Warren led the team in rushing today with 18 yards on 5 carries. Najee Harris couldn't even get more than that. 7 carries, 13 yards is what I'm getting from Coop. I mean, goodness gracious, that's not even 2 yards a carry from Najee. So it wouldn't surprise me at all, especially with Kenny Pickett injured. Mitchell Trubisky showing that he clearly can't carry an NFL offense if the Steelers make a big splash move here for Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, or Saquon Barkley. It wouldn't shock me at all if that move happens. I will end up going live here on the channel, so make sure you click that subscribe button when they end up making a move here at the trade deadline on Tuesday. Now let me know down in the comments section, who do you blame for today's Pittsburgh Steelers loss versus the Jacksonville Jaguars? Do you blame the refs? Do you blame maybe, Mitchell Trubisky? Do you blame Kenny Pickett? Do you blame Matt Canada? Do you blame Mike Tomlin? Let me know who you blame down there in the comments section when you get a second down there in the comments section. Now let's have a word from our sponsor here at Prize Picks. And if you're looking for a way to spice up your game days this NFL season, Prize Picks is the perfect app for you. Prize Picks is a skill-based, real money daily fantasy sports game. And you might be asking yourself, how does daily fantasy work? Well, here's how. You pick 2 to 6 players, and if they'll go for more or less than their Prize Picks projection, you can win up to 25 times your money on any entry. And you can even get your picks in before Sunday Night Football tonight. Check it out now at prizepicks.com/CLNS and use our code CLNS for a deposit match up to $100 today. At Prize Picks, you aren't competing against other people. It's just you versus the projections available instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, that are just looking to take advantage of you. With Prize Picks, it takes less than 60 seconds to make your picks, so get started right away. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use our code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100 today. That's code CLNS at prizepicks.com/CLNS for a deposit match up to $100 today. All right, so now let's go over the keys to victory and see how the Steelers did today. Feast or famine with the pass rush. I thought the pass rush was really good today. They forced bad decisions from Trevor Lawrence. They sacked him multiple times. TJ Watt had another really awesome game and had some really crucial moments to try to keep this team in the football game. Wasn't enough. Offense couldn't carry it here. But the big thing on defense is I didn't think he did a good job against Travis Etienne. I thought generally in the first half he did pretty decent, but this defense got tired in the second half. The time of possession in this football game is embarrassing for the Pittsburgh Steelers yet again. And Travis Etienne was able to eventually get quite a bit here, about 79 yards on 24 carries, which isn't necessarily crazy. But then as a receiver, 3 catches and 70 yards. Not great here. Over 140 yards there total offense for Mr. Etienne. That's not something that you want to give up to an opposing back. So unfortunately, didn't follow through on that key to victory. Then, covering Christian Kirk, they did that pretty well today. Kirk didn't have much in terms of receiving today. Had a drop, was wet and rainy outside, so he did a good job there. And I've got 2 more keys to victory that I'm going to be breaking down here in just a second, whether or not the Steelers did a good job. But before that, make sure you click that subscribe button. Help us out here at the channel and join the over 35,000 Yinzers that are already subscribed here on the channel. We're going to be doing a bunch of great trade deadline coverage. The Steelers have an early week this week. We got trade deadline coverage on Tuesday, followed by Thursday Night Football coverage on Thursday, and then our Steelers Talk watch our live show on Friday as well. So we're going live 3 times this week. Don't miss it. Click that subscribe button right now. And then containing Josh Allen. I thought they did actually an okay job of this, but I'm going to give them the X because you give up a big sack to him early in this football game. You didn't contain him enough. Not so great. And then attacking through the air, key to victory. This was probably the biggest key to victory. We got 3 X's on there because, goodness gracious, this passing attack was not feeling it. They were feeling it in spurts, right? Kenny Pickett led this team down the field on one drive, didn't end up with a touchdown. By the way, Kenny Pickett missed Diontae Johnson wide open in the end zone, missed him by yards, by the way. Probably his worst miss of the season. Kenny didn't look good today. Mitch didn't look good today. The entire Steelers offense did not look good today. This Steelers defense played their ass off, getting them 3 turnovers, giving them chance after chance after chance. The Steelers had an opportunity down 17-10 in the fourth quarter after everything that had already happened in that football game. I mean, the Steelers got absolutely dominated in this football game when it comes to the offense-defense matchup. Mitchell Trubisky didn't play well. Najee Harris didn't play well. George Pickens was very limited today. Diontae Johnson, I actually thought, played an excellent game. He had a couple drops even. I mean, it's just a mess from start to finish here for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and it ends in a 20-10 loss for our boys. Now, let me know, what is your grade for the Steelers' performance here in Week 8? Give me an A, a B, a C, a D, or an F. For me, I got to give it a C-, D+, just because the defense is buoying that. Like 3 turnovers, good game there, way to keep the team in the ball game. But, I mean, the offense just couldn't get the job done yet again. It seems like we're talking about this every single watch party and live show, man. This offense is not getting the job done. Something needs to change. And unfortunately, Mike Tomlin isn't willing to get rid of the guy responsible, Matt Canada, right? So I don't know what to do. I don't know how the season looks from here. It's going to be interesting to see how this short week against Tennessee ends up. Same thing with Green Bay the following week. If you can get 2 wins here, you're sitting at 2-3, and you're feeling pretty good about your playoff chances. So I will say that the schedule is pretty light at this point in the season. This isn't the biggest loss of the year by any stance of the imagination. But, you need to get your players back on the field healthy. You need to start winning these football games against good football teams if you want any shot at winning in the playoffs. And the offense needs to find some sort of groove where, they're not just playing 1 quarter of good football. That's what happened against the Rams. You want to play 4 consistent quarters of football on the offensive side of the ball, and we haven't seen that to this point. The defense has let them off the hook time and time again so far this season, and that's just not a sustainable way to win in the National Football League. So I'm optimistic about the future. If you start losing to Tennessee and Green Bay, though, it's going to be time to sound the alarms, people. All right, that's going to be it for me today. If you want more Steelers content from me on X or Twitter, whatever you guys want to call it, give me a follow at Jack_Sperry. Really do appreciate all of your guys' support. I will see you guys later, and as always, here we go, Steelers.